Hello, everyone, and welcome to November the 18th regular Legislative Committee meeting of the Town of Vegreville. I call this meeting to order at 3:01. First up, I'll be looking for a motion to accept the agenda. Motion. Councillor Brodziak makes the motion. Is there any additions or deletions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Carried. Next, I'll need a motion to adopt the minutes of our last regular Ledge meeting. Councillor Curtis makes the motion. Is there any errors or omissions within those minutes? Okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay, so first on our agenda today, we have a delegation. We have Kathy Demetru from Crossroads Economic Development Alliance. So when you're ready, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mayor and Council, for making the time this afternoon to allow me to speak about Crossroads Economic Development Alliance. For those of you who may not know about Crossroads, we are a regional alliance for the town of Vegreville, the county of Minburn, the villages of Manville and Innisfree. This alliance is board-driven and provides economic development for the partnering municipalities. Speaking specifically to Vegreville, I can say that Jameson has been a huge mentor for me, supporting this alliance, and we quickly figured out my role in supporting him through retention and expansion of businesses. Business visits are slow at this time, as we are preparing for grant funding as well as completion of the directives given throughout the year. These visits are and will remain the main focus for me as it strengthens understanding for both businesses and us. However, I would like to say that with every visit, there is follow-up, information gathering, assistance for business specific to their needs, matchmaking, and this all takes time. I completely underestimated the time this would and does take. It's a challenge, but one that I am thoroughly enjoying. I also promote our region regularly to continue to work with economic developers of Alberta, excuse me, among others, to build the unity on a larger scale. I can't stress that enough. Alberta Hub has been a great support to our region and me, and we continue to move forward alongside our municipal leaders and organizations, as well as members. Crossroads has completed the regional developers package, to which none of you have seen yet, as it has not been passed by the board yet. And then we will be able to distribute that to the public. This package is specific only to our region and provides future investors all the information that they're going to need and want. Jameson and Davin helped me work on that with their marketing abilities. The information that was put forward to Outlook Market Research indeed is thorough, and I look forward to your comments at a later date. The other project that is almost complete is the welcome information package. This was a request from the board, as they felt it was pertinent to have something available for newcomers for information. I collected all the data with the help of Sabrina Curtis, and now I'm waiting for it to come back from the graphic department, which is OMR. Excuse me. I am consistently updated by Tammy McLean on business licenses within the town, and this directly correlates with Crossroads and our ability to promote our local business. I am working towards my certification in economic development, and while I'm in these courses, I'm learning a lot about stats with economic development and its possibilities and what we can achieve. Although the statistics say it could take up to, 10 to 20 years, but whatever, we'll see how it goes. Having served in this role for the past 2 years, I gained valuable insight that has shaped a key objective moving forward. Foster a culture of continuous improvement and clear communication across our organization. In return, it'll provide us greater transparency in our work. This is the time of year Crossroads will work with municipalities on strategic goals, but please keep in mind that those priorities may need to shift. I will continue to support Jameson and build awareness of what economic development is and any of the opportunities moving forward. I hope the town of Vegreville will continue to support this alliance. In your package, you guys have received a more detailed report, and I will gladly take any questions if you have. But at this time, for the 2026 budget year, Crossroads is requesting a total commitment of $100,000 from the Alliance partners to support capital needs and grant development activities. Using the LGFF funding model to determine proportional contributions, the town of Vegreville share of this request is $33,176.41. Again, this represents Vegreville's portion of the overall Alliance contribution. Crossroads has requested that municipalities provide a decision before November 26th of 2025, as the board is meeting on that date to review next steps and plan for the organization's operations moving into 2026. Do you have any questions?
Go ahead, Councillor Jagal.
Thank you, Kathy. That was very informative. I do have a question for you. Just given the wealth of new development in our town, in our region, and then the ever-growing population of Vegreville, I think the public would benefit from hearing a little bit more detail about the welcomers package and the developers package. Can you just summarize or highlight what that's going to include?
The developers package is strictly for investors. Okay. So it is information pertinent within the county, the region itself, as to what we have, what's available. It includes all details that they would find pertinent.
It means of helping connect them with our local amenities here, right? Things that they would utilize throughout their developments?
That's correct. And just information to decide if they want to build a business or what have you here. Okay. As for the welcome package, well, I'm sure there's going to be tweaks as soon as the board has a chance to review it. I did a basic. It is all your emergency. There is, local amenities throughout the region. They are municipality specific. So each municipality would be able to print out what is information for them. And then we will tie it in with, let's say, for an example, a municipality might not have an electrician. So then we provide them with what is available to their closest. Vegreville is the main hub, obviously, but working more towards Manville, they might choose to utilize Vermilion, but their information won't be in that package.
Okay, so already Crossroads has finished the Bree report, and that was something that council seen last year.
Yes.
So for the new council, where would that report be with all the interviews and stuff with local businesses and what their thoughts were? Where can they access that right now? Is it something that's on the Crossroads website still, or?
It is, but just clarification. So to new council, so that you understand, the Bree survey that went out was completed. I believe there were 78 businesses that participated in that. Don't quote me on that number, but it's pretty close. It was very, very disheartening that very few participated. However, we also did a residential survey after that, and I can't remember the number of people who participated in that one, but I did hit the ground running, and I did business visits, which is where conversations were had that are confidential and will not be available for anyone's information.
So you did over 100 interviews with local businesses within the county.
Yes. And I still use a lot of those questions when I'm meeting with other businesses. However, we have to shift gears, and Jameson and I have spoke about what we can do next. But we will be probably next year, 2027, falling back onto the Business Retention Expansion Survey. It's just something that's natural throughout the economic world. I just don't know how that looks at this time.
Okay, and so this $100,000 that, and of course I'm on the board, so I have a lot more knowledge about what's going on, is the $100,000 to support some of the grant applications if they're matching dollars, is
Yes.
what this money is going to be used for some other projects that we're proposing for the, under these grant applications.
That's correct. And Vegreville is partnering with Crossroads to do the NRED application grant, which is due on the 28th, as well as the county is partnering with us for the ACP grant.
Anybody else have any questions? You get off pretty easy, let me tell you. Okay, well, and you need a decision. I think we already have $20,000 in the budget, am I correct, Director Saskew? So what we're looking for here would be another 13,000 and change? Yeah, okay.
And just so that you know, with elections and everything is exactly why all of this is pushed to the very last minute. So next year I will be coming before you and reporting long before this.
Okay. Well, there's no more questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in. And we'll figure out when we're going to make a decision. But hopefully before the date that your board needs it by. So just so everybody knows, there's a very nice website, Crossroads Economic Development Alliance. And if you have a chance, go breeze through it. And there's a lot of information. And we're looking forward to that developers package for sure. And the newcomers package is going to be good. I mean, it lists off every service you're going to need, right from where to different types of meeting places for religions, childcare, all kinds of different things that somebody new to all four communities would need to know right away. So, okay, well, I appreciate you, like I said, coming in. Thank you. Okay, next up. Well, probably a lot more questions at this one. James Brown, the Community Engagement and Economic Development Manager.
Thank you very much, Your Worship. It is my time for the manager's report, the quarterly report. So this pertains specifically to budget initiatives that now that we're, the final quarter here of 2025, give you a bit of an update. And I'm just going to flip over to make sure to my slideshow. So we're going to start first. Obviously, this doesn't pertain to all of the budgetary asks because in quarter three, my report, I had detailed what had been mission accomplished and already completed. So this pertains to the last two that remain ongoing as we enter the final quarter. The first is the enhanced advertising and marketing. I asked for $75,000. Council was gracious enough to provide that to date. We've spent $62,000 and the status is on track. Obviously, this project involves the development and execution of targeted marketing campaigns designed to promote Vegreville's key economic and tourism assets. Throughout 2025, the town has advanced a coordinated mix of print and digital advertising as well, the oft-mentioned Edmonton International adjacent billboard. All of this advertising to raise awareness of local opportunities, attract investment, and increase visitor engagement. Before I proceed to the next slide, I need to make it abundantly clear that what I'm about to show or demonstrate doesn't necessarily speak exclusively to this initiative or to the seed department. It's important for everybody to understand that advertising is demonstrating your assets, demonstrating your unique sales position, and demonstrating to potential investors, be it residents, visitors, or industry, what makes your community a viable place to live, work, or play. So I want to make it abundantly clear that I am in no way, shape, or form taking credit for the numbers that we're about to demonstrate, but I feel that it does certainly provide a pretty unique snapshot in terms of our ability with these funds to promote our community and the work that this town, from administration all the way down to boots on the ground, as well as including council, has done over the last few years. So we'll start with some metrics, because people will ask, well, how do I know if the advertising is working? I've seen that question be posed. And the first and easiest way is just in terms of where we're driving a lot of our digital ads, and that is to our website. So in 2021, that's when essentially the beginning of the seed department began. It was actually shortly after. It was in 2022, midway through that year. But you see here a continual rise in visits to our website, leading to, and this is just to October 31st, we have for the first time surpassed 100,000 page views on our website. We're at 106,925. And for a community of 6,000 people, obviously there's people outside of our community that are going to our website and finding out more about our community. I'll use this moment to reiterate that while we may be a municipality, we are no different than several other municipalities in this province that are trying to attract the same visitors, the same investment, and the same potential residents. So it is extremely important that we find a way to elevate above that competition. Beg your pardon, I went one slide too far. This is the ChooseVegreville.com website. This site did not exist in 2021. In 2022, obviously you see it start to take shape. This is a website designed specifically for investors. It answers key questions in terms of demographics within the community, available land, inventory, prices, transportation logistics. It took a lot of work to get off the ground, and we're starting to see the fruits of the labor. With now here in 2025, we've seen continued growth of this website in terms of visitors and page views, now at 13,877. And again, that's just to this point in the calendar. So there's still room to grow, and by all accounts, we could almost get to 30 or 40% increase over last year. Other metrics include, and this is the more tangible one, I can go on and say that we receive a lot of interest and a lot of inquiries. Some of them lead to more serious inquiries and discussions that we're not privy to discuss because of business interests. But with help from Dale's department, or Director Lefebvre, beg your pardon, development permit values, I think, speak very loudly in terms of how this town has grown over the last little bit. 2023 versus 2024, we saw growth there, but 2025, we're talking millions of dollars worth of investment over time. And this is the big one, population. And again, this is not my department taking credit for Vegreville's population spike. I don't want to call it a spike, I'll call it growth, because spike could indicate that it may decline on the other side. But in 2021, 5,848. We saw a dip in 2022. And in the economic development game, there's a saying, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I think that that's very true. If your community is going the wrong way in terms of population, you're going to be faced with some very difficult decisions with not only how do you maintain levels of service, but what are you cutting because your tax base is shrinking. We managed to not only stem the tide, but start to grow in the other direction. And now in 2024, 6,109, 2025 numbers are not yet available. And I have heard, well, that's just the trend across every small community in this province. And I would argue that yes, some have seen growth, but not like Vegreville. So what you're seeing here is 2021, which is the beige, versus 2024. Our 2021 population, 5,848 to now 6,109. The following communities, Didsbury, Stettler, St. Paul, and Redcliffe, these are all similarly sized communities. They fall, or they fall into that 5,000 to 6,000 population. And it's important to keep that apples to apples, or as close to apples comparison in mind, because we are faced with very similar challenges. Obviously, the RCMP and our payments, for one. I mean, we pay exponentially more even at 5,001 than a community at 4,999. Not only that, but these have been specifically chosen based on what their key sectors are in terms of industry. A lot of them rely heavily on agriculture. And what this graph demonstrates is that, yes, some have seen growth. Didsbury was marginal. In fact, they actually dipped. Didsbury dropped in terms of 2021 versus 2024. They went from 52.19 down to 52.02. Stettler grew, but not like Vegreville, 58.46 to 59.27. St. Paul dropped, 6,052. They're now at 6,004. And Redcliffe saw an increase, but again, not like Vegreville, 5,768 to now 5,911. So yes, we are seeing a trend where communities that would be considered kind of rural are seeing growth, but not to Vegreville's level. And I again have to stress that this is not a seed thing. This is our ability, thanks to this investment, to demonstrate to potential investors or visitors what makes this community great in terms of resident and industrial attraction. So with that, we'll go to the next project. And again, this is just the last two that remain still yet to be officially complete. This is the wayfinding signage, phase 1 of 3. I asked for 150, and our department managed to increase that budget by 90,000 with a scope grant, bringing the project to 240,000. To date, we've spent 206. It is on track. The signs have been installed. We've done the first preliminary walkthrough, and later this week you're going to see the bases installed on all the signage. But this gives you an idea of what was there versus what is there. And I think it's important that we stress this came directly, obviously, and Councillor Rudick and Mayor McPhee and whoever's been a long tenured councillor and on council for a while can speak to. This has been a long time coming, this project, but it stems from a lot of feedback that we had been getting, including a couple of years ago where at the Visitor Information Center, we asked an open-ended question of visitors, is there anything that this town can do to enhance your visitation to our community? And unprompted, the overwhelming majority was wayfinding signage. So this gives you an idea, again, of what the signs look like versus what they look like now, and this is phase 1 of 3. And again, we're hoping that we can continue the project into 2026. So with that, that's my report in terms of the budgetary requests that remain yet to be officially complete, and I'll throw it over to you for any questions.
Who'd like to start? Okay, then it'll be me. Well, it's quite amazing on our social media and what the numbers, the way they're going up. Especially Choose Vegreville, and that's mostly developers that they're, especially that sign out on QE2. It's amazing, and I know it's working, and I know that our websites are working because all the other mayors and councillors that I talk to always bring up and how they're asking their staff to basically, if they could copy what we're doing. And I don't have too many mayors that I know that don't drive by that sign and phone me instantly and say, how the hell do you guys do it? How do you guys sustain this this type of social media presence and stuff? So it's where you need to be today. And if you and when people come on our website and look, and they're looking at a lot of things, and we showcase the quality of life in our community very well on all of our social media spots, and that Choose Vegreville is big, the industry, and having that kind of attention coming with, you know, people seeing that sign, people in Ontario, BC, seeing our social presence, our social media presence, and I mean, I know that it can be a pain in the butt talking to people all the time and inquiring, but if one out of every 60 or 80 of those people turn out to be a business comes to town, it's well worth it. So, and I know, like I said, most other municipalities that I hang out with, they're a little jealous of what we do. So that's a good sign. Any other questions for Seed Manager? Well, again, you get off easy. Holy, you guys talked to yourself.
Apparently, holy cow.
Budget. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maybe things will go a little worse here for Dan. Oh, Manager Kuzmic, sorry. Go ahead.
All right, well, good afternoon, your worship and the rest of council. Just have 3 quarterly reports left that I'll go over fairly quickly, and then I'll give you an update on our swimming pool. So first one was our chemical storage cabinet. It is complete, installed at Parks Building, in the Parks Building, right on budget at $10,000 bucks. Pretty straightforward, that one.
Gotta be quite a cabinet.
Well, it's more the electrical components and the explosion components that they had to add in after, but yeah.
Okay.
Next one, we have our security system and camera upgrade. It's still in progress. We just installed our last key pad at the new landfill building, and I'm just waiting to get some Wi-Fi set up at the cemetery shop and there's the cemetery shop, and then we can run our cameras there. Don't know exactly what that bill's going to come out to yet, as I haven't had the invoice quite yet, but it's going to be between probably that $30,000 to $40,000 mark. Might be a little bit of savings.
I don't know if everybody knows that the landfill and the cemetery are big targets for thieves.
Yeah, so this year we've included them there. We've stuck them in the Public Works building. They're also having some issues there being broken into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's, you know, the landfill really blows my mind, but
Cemetery gets me too.
yeah, could have saved us all the trouble before we took it out. You could have got it, but
Lastly, we have our $50,000 he gave us to upgrade our parks and open spaces. So we started that in May, and we're just finishing it up now. Unfortunately, we had to sidetrack a little bit. We have bought our topsoil, our dirt, our crushed rock. You see, included some pictures on the bottom of this stuff. If you scroll down, we've had to add some spray park upgrades, which is where I took some of that $50,000 and started to use it. The first picture you'll see there. For our spray park, we have an underground valve, and it's really just in a dirt pit, and it's been collapsing over the years. So I have to order some concrete walls, and those are the pictures you see there that we'll be installing in the spring, but I took them out of this year's budget. Before we reopen, we'll get that installed and reopen the spray park. Again, at the spray park, if you scroll down some more, we've had numerous vandalisms in that park. 2 instances this year, they've tore off the manhole covers and left them wide open, and any kid could fall in there. Any child. So we've ordered a lockable manhole cover, and Public Works will be installing that and the wall shoring for the pit too in spring before we reopen. Next few pictures are some of the curbside work we did with that coconut fiber. Fortunately, I didn't get a picture with the new grass growing in, but you can see the worst and how good it is. We've been chopping.
it's filled in pretty good though.
Yeah, it took really well. Kind of surprised me actually. So better than some of that spray stuff people used to use. So I was pretty happy with that coconut fiber. Again, we've been trimming all kinds of trees, cleaning up back alleys, cleaning up between the back of the Crave and the apartment building behind there. So you'll see pictures of those guys using all that stuff. We put a whole bunch of trees in. I'm going to say close to 40 trees in our campground this year. That was a grant that Michelle had got, the seed department. So we used a little bit of that green space money as well to top up the end of that project. Finally, you'll see the boys doing some grass mowing. I threw this last picture in with the guy on the machine, just because we all had a few hard days. Maybe we need a little smile here, but yeah, no, you can just see the work that they've been doing over all that stuff. So again, there is a little bit of work still to do in the spring, but everything will be paid out of this year's budget for it.
Okay. Who has the first question for Manager Kuzmic? So, yeah, I'll start. We got a grant for the trees. How many trees did we actually plant this year?
We ordered 40-some trees, so don't have the exact number offhand, but that was that Canada Tree Grant. So last year we used it for the at the edible orchard. We put that in there, just still like to continually grow. We'll keep applying for that grant, and then this year they gave it to Michelle to put trees in at the campground. So
Yeah.
we wanted to put more in there, but too close to the CN track, so we had to keep that in our mind when we were putting them in there.
Councilor Rudick.
Just curious, in your fund to be able to update some of the parks and open spaces, you had previously talked about North Circle Drive, the overgrown garden there, and I had numerous comments when I was door knocking about that particular area. Do you have any plans for that in the upcoming year?
Yep, that's where we ordered still our soil and our crushed rock. We just haven't had the time to get in there. We've been a man short since August, so it is on our plan first thing in the spring after we get that stuff installed at the spray park. And then we're still going to upgrade the rest of those parks with our soil and our gravel. So
Okay. Anybody else? Well, it's too bad that we have to put a locking manhole cover
I told
around the splash park. It's really nice that people would decide that would be the right thing to do.
yeah, again, I just, the risk is hurting as a child. I don't want that to be on any of our heads. So
Well, I usually say it 3 or 4 times a year. There's people in our community right now that know who's causing this vandalism and stuff, and we may have to put a reward out there or something. Maybe a free year at the pool if somebody will turn some of these,
Something.
morons in.
there has been a lot over the last 2 years. So
Oh, it's cost every taxpayer all the time. I mean, it's just never ending. And again, like we talked about cameras yesterday and budget, and you know what happens. I mean, they go to court. Even if that was the crucial thing in the sentence, they would be out in the morning and there'd be no retribution towards what they did. But it sure would be nice to be able to call them out in the community, though. So every time that every taxpayer walks by who's doing this vandalism, they'd get
hands down, and at 30,000 a year, we're tight budget already. I mean, that's money we're just not accounting for. We got to find. So
never ends. So any other questions? Well, it was thanks for putting that last picture in there.
well, it's worth a smile for us.
Certainly was, yeah.
Need to find a little bit of humor.
Huh? Yeah. Employee of the month. Okay, well, thank you very much, Manager Kuzmic.
Perfect.
Okay, next we have a letter from the Vegreville 4-H Beef Club.
All right, I guess I'll take this one. Thank you, Your Worship. Would you like to take it, Manager?
Sure, I don't mind. Just loading it up. Give me 1 second, please. Perfect. So, dear Town Council and Arena coordinators, on behalf of the Vegreville 4-H Beef Club, we are writing to inquire about the possibility of utilizing the hockey arena for our club's annual 4-H Achievement Day, which occurs at the end of May. We believe this venue would provide an excellent space for our growing event, offer ample room for participants, and a comfortable viewing area for community members. As our event is free to all the public, the facility that we currently use now isn't large enough to allow us to stall our animals and have a show. Can't even read today, and have a show ring, sorry. Our club is prepared to manage all aspects of the event setup and takedown, including placement and removal of shavings and a thorough cleaning of any cattle droppings. We are committed to ensuring the arena is left in impeccable condition We also believe that hosting such an event could open doors for the town to host other similar community gatherings, as many surrounding areas successfully use their arenas facilities for various agriculture events. The arena's convenient access to the Agricultural Society wash bays and abundant parking for both attendees and participants future enhances its suitability for our needs. We are confident that this presents a significant opportunity for the town to attract a considerable number of people to inquire and engage in event, potentially leading to further community development. Our club continues to grow this year. We have 27 members and 10 cleavers. Our project includes 26 deer projects, 11 heifer projects, 8 cow/calf projects. The club is extremely active in the community, volunteering for a variety of events, including sorting toys at the Christmas Bureau, shopping, donating to the Vegreville Food Bank Society, and highway cleanup, just to name a few. We feel very strongly about our youth supporting their local community, and we kindly like to request the same support to our club as we host this annual event. Thanks for your consideration, and we look forward to your positive response. Sincerely, Vegreville 4-H Beef Club.
Okay, so what do we have going on at the arena at the end of May?
Nothing.
The ice is usually out.
Yeah, mid-April, we usually take it out.
What are your guys' thoughts? Go ahead, Councillor Lemko.
More important, what is Manager Kuzmic? What's your thoughts? Is this feasible? Is it require any extra on our part to do this? And is the facility able to manage that?
It is feasible. I've done them numerous times, from 4-H cattle sales to bull riding to rodeo events in previous municipalities and arenas. This one's no different. I'm surprised that they actually haven't asked prior years to be doing it. So just a matter of if we want to charge them a fee or not. In the past, I have charged fees. I just suggest we do charge at least something.
Yeah, and then when you're trying to schedule this event for them, I mean, it's nice if it's really nice outside, but when it turns into a bad day, nobody shows up to the sale.
Right.
And it's just really tough. You know, these 4-H members put a lot of time into their showing their cattle, and that's their big day. And the sponsors too, the sponsors that are coming out, they like to be able to have their name out there and stuff.
It was actually probably one of my favorite events in the past. It actually opened my mind to how much work these kids put into raising their cattle, and they're pretty proud of it.
Go ahead, Councillor Wawa.
Yeah, I know, like the letter said, it is typically this event does happen in a lot of municipalities in their arena, and with our whole egg society or egg grounds being right there, I do think it's important. You touched base a little bit on charging something. Typically, what would, like you've done in the past, typically what would you charge for something like this?
It would all depend on how long their take up and setup is and what we want to charge. We have a daily rate and we have an hourly rate. So again, it is for the kids. Offhand, I'll have to look and see what we would charge them and what we currently charge. Don't have it on the tip of my tongue, but
I would imagine they'd come in with their own panels, set up some panels.
everything. In my past, I actually got them to wet their sawdust a little bit so it doesn't create all that dust for the arena. But they can, they set it all up, tear it down. Last group I dealt with bleached the entire thing. It was probably cleaner than it's been in a long time.
Well, I don't think anybody's opposed to it. May I, go ahead, we'll start here, Councillor Brodziak.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think it would benefit the community with great economic spin-off, and I wholeheartedly support this.
Okay, Councillor Zagalik.
I agree with Councillor Brodziak. I think that the 4-H Club is a very important organization to our community, and they give back in many, many ways. I personally think that this would be a good opportunity for us to give them our support and utilizing the facility as an in-kind donation of sorts. So especially since they've emphasized in great detail that they are willing to do the majority of the work. So, yeah, I would be in favor of that for sure.
I would like to just, there always is a cost of our staff and our washrooms and our cleanup. So no matter who uses our buildings, we should be charging something at least to recoup that. We
When
can't
we go
continually give everything
full out,
away for
and
free.
then everybody else that's used to paying at least some facility fee.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we just gotta be careful.
Yeah.
But, go ahead, Counselor Lemko.
Yeah, I support this wholeheartedly. I think it maybe a quarter of beef shared equally amongst staff. No, but yes, they do so much for the community, and it's incumbent upon us to support this club.
Perfect.
Okay, so I think you sort of got to some direction there. Let's go out and see what it's gonna take to put this together.
For sure, I'll reach out to them.
Okay, you got the email that I forwarded to you from Barclay Leach?
Yep, I haven't had the time to reach out to them. We do have that Prospect Cup usually, I believe it is the 12th and 13th of April this year. We usually take our ice out after that. So I'll reach out to him and see what exactly he's looking for and how long. Minor hockey is usually done by the end of March, and they usually run for the first 2-3 weeks a 3-on-3, which is why that Prospect Cup rolls in perfect.
Yeah.
So we'll see how much longer Barkley is looking for, and then bring it back to you guys. I would suggest that his usage, I'm sure we could squeeze him in the first 2 to 3 weeks, but I wouldn't go any later than that.
Yeah, if he gets right to the end of April, we just got, first of all, the ice plant has to work that much harder. And for just to book it for a couple hours,
Doesn't pay, no.
like, it looks like the weekend is where he wants it, so.
Which again, the one weekend is not a problem if we extend it, but after that, I don't think the value is worth our time with how tight everything is right now, so.
Okay, any other questions for Manager Kuzmic? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Just want to update you on the swimming pool.
Oh, right, the water
Unless you just want
slide.
to sweep that under, we
No.
don't have to worry about it. So just before we got to this meeting, we did think it was the water slide. Good news is not the water slide. Bad news is we still have a leak. So it's coming out of our jets to the hot tub. So we can continually operate as usual, but we just cannot turn the jets on for now. So in order to do that, I still have to drain the hot tub, let it dry out. Again, everything's under 5 to 6 feet of concrete. Hopefully we can get Public Works to scope that thing and see where our leak is. I don't know how we're gonna repair it. Then I remembered we were lining our sewer lines with that sleeve. Maybe there's something we could do for our pool too. But
I don't know if there's enough length in that pipe that to bring somebody up.
I don't know, but it'd be jackhammering up the floor. Would be only our other option if we can locate that leak, right? So
Okay, so we know it's
currently-
in the hot tub, so,
it just
hot
won't have
tub,
the
it'll
jets
be-
on. Right, you can still have our circulation and warm bathing water, but you won't have that forceful jets flowing.
okay, well, keep us updated. I'm glad it's not
It
the water
scared-
slide,
it
because in the
scared me.
past, we've seen the water slide looking, it's broken, and I've always said, how can it be broken? It's a slide with a pump.
Yeah, and where the water is coming out of the wall in the pit, it's right out of our main suction for the main pool, so my first part was, boy, we got big problems.
Yeah.
'Cause that was the issue of where it's leaking, then it's a whole pool shutdown, and you seven have to decide if we're jackhammering or what we're doing.
Well,
Thank goodness, just the hot tub.
okay, so the water slide will be operational this weekend.
Yeah,
It's operational right now.
right now.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you very much. Next up, Director LaFave.
Thank you, Worship. I have a memo to council here, proposed by myself, IP&D Director. The background is, since being contracted with the town of Vegreville since 2008, the inspections group, TIG, has implemented a one-time 5% fee increase, which was in 2022. The inspections group states that they maintain the same fee structure despite ongoing fluctuations in inflation. The inspections group is requesting council's approval for a 10% fee adjustment to reflect the consumer price index increase that has been calculated by the CRA, which has increased a cumulative total of 36.85% since 2014. Attached is the draft fee schedule 2014, 2022, and 2025. The 2025 rate is proposed to be effective in 2026, January 1. building permit fee schedule comparison for council's review. Our current inspections group service agreement will expire on September 14th of 2026 unless renewed prior to them at the end of the term. The communication strategy is planning development will be issuing a request for proposal in 2026 for inspection agencies to continue providing residents with reliable, high quality and affordable permitting services. The options are that council review draft fee schedule and move forward with the process. Option 2 is to review and deny and provide reasons why. So we will not be providing a request for proposal in 2026. It'll be before 2026, so it's effective January 1 of 26. And you can see there's some, scroll down, there's attachments. So the first page is simply showing a comparison. So in 2014, which was the same as from our start in 2018, as I understand, you can see the charges at 50 cents per square foot for residential dwelling units. It moved to 2022, it went up 2 cents per square foot. And in 2025, they're proposing it to increase to 57 cents per square foot. All of the other adjustments as well are that 10% that they proposed. And these terms typically are a one-year agreement. As we get into it further, we can determine if we want to do a 1 year or sign a longer duration agreement with the inspections group. But at this point, it's information to council. This will be coming up in our fees and charges review that we're doing shortly. And then, of course, it'll be approved at a future regular council meeting.
So our contract with them is up in December of 2026.
September.
September of 2026. And within the contract, they have the ability to raise their fees?
They're saying that when this contract is due in 2026, September, the next one, if we renew, will be a 10% increase.
Okay. But we typically send this out, right?
We have not.
We
We've
have.
been with them since 2008. So we have not done a request for proposal.
So is that the direction you're looking for today? Is, do we send it out?
We should be sending it out. I'm not saying that we have issues with the inspections group. We haven't gone for a request for proposal for many years, and it's just a good idea to go out and see what the pricings are. We have compared pricing in the past, obviously, and the inspections group has always been on par or a little better than par. So we weren't, it's not like we've been running blind since 2008. We have checked on their fees with others, so.
We have had conversations years ago about certain inspectors, certain practices with the inspections group, and the relationship has gotten better, I feel. So, yeah, I think that we should send it out, and, I mean, every contractor, sooner or later is gonna have a problem with, no matter who the inspector is. I mean, I've come to know that people say, well, we wish we were with the inspections group, and then, because their people are terrible, and then somebody else says, you should see what the problems we've had with ours, and, yeah. And it's usually the contractor that is the problem. Okay, so, yeah, let's get it out there and see what else we can find out.
All right, thank you, Worship.
Thank you. I hope that was the consensus, okay. Okay, next we have Director Saskew.
Thank you, Worship. I have here a letter from the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance. Dear Mayor McPhee and Council, with Municipal Council settling into their new dynamic after a recent election, I wanted to reconnect with the town of Vegreville with the North Saskatchewan Watershed Alliance, and thank you for your continued partnership. As we mark 25 years of collaboration in 2025, your engagement helps build water certainty across the watershed. Communities across Alberta know that water certainty underpins economic certainty. Whether attracting new investment, supporting housing growth, or maintaining infrastructure, prosperity depends on reliable water and manageable environment risk. Yet no municipality can achieve that certainty alone. What happens upstream affects those downstream, and local actions ripple across the entire system. That's why NSWA exists, to help municipalities, industries, and governments plan and manage shared water and aquatic natural assets using sound science and practical local knowledge. Through this collaboration, we can strengthen both built and natural resilience, reduce flood and drought risk, and improve water quality for all. As a valued partner, we invite the town of Vegreville to renew its contribution of $3,377.40 for the 2025-2026 fiscal year. Your support sustains collaborative planning tools that give municipalities confidence in water-related decisions and future growth, science-based strategies to manage flood and drought risk, protect infrastructure, and maintain reliable water supplies, and the 2025 State of the Watershed Update, applying Global Freshwater Health Index to guide sustainable planning and decisions. Your renewed contribution is an investment in the collaborative infrastructure that strengthens regional decision-making and ensures growth and stewardship that can proceed with confidence. We welcome the opportunity to meet or present to council and discuss how NSWA's work supports your local priorities. Please contact me or our Executive Director, Scott Miller, for details. Thank you for your leadership and partnership in shaping secure water future for our region. Warm regards, Steph Neufeld.
Hey, thank you very much. So, as our new spokesperson, have you contacted them yet?
Thank you very much. I have contacted them, actually. Leslie had sent a invitation to a meeting supposed to happen on the 25th, and when I went to register, it had been canceled. Apparently, there was low registration for this one. So I reached out to Michelle Gordy, who was the contact on the email, and they're looking to reschedule it into January. But she set me up with a welcome package, some information and notes, so I will be going through that. As well, I did sign up for a lunchtime webinar, but I think now with our new budget meeting, I might have to miss that. So we will see how that goes. But getting into it now, and looking forward to getting to my first in-person meeting and seeing who else is on the board from the surrounding counties and municipalities.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. Next up, CAO Ling.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is a letter from Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors, and it's addressed to myself. And it says, Dear Ms. Ling, as part of our continued efforts to maintain a safe and efficient highway network, Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors is seeking your feedback on a proposal to increase the speed limit from 110 kilometers per hour to 120 kilometers per hour on select divided rural highways. This initiative will help rural Albertans who commute long distances each day to save valuable time. A 2024 public survey indicated 58%, so 1,203 total surveys participants of Albertas were in favor of such an increase on divided highways. The divided highways under consideration are those under provincial jurisdiction only, and they exclude the low-speed portions which run through urban areas, towns, or First Nation lands. They are Highway 1 from Banff to the Saskatchewan border, approximately 400 kilometers. Highway 2 between Edmonton and Calgary and south, excluding Deerfoot Trail, approximately 400 kilometers. Divided portions of Highway 3, approximately 80 kilometers. A Highway 4 from Lethbridge to the United States border, approximately 100 kilometers. And a note there, in Montana, there is a posted speed limit of 80 miles per hour, which is approximately 130 kilometers an hour for the I-15. Highway 16 from Hinton to Lloydminster, approximately 500 kilometers. Highway 63 from north of Highway 55 to Fort McMurray, and then north of Fort McMurray, approximately 270 kilometers. And Highway 43 from west of Edmonton to Grand Prairie, approximately 400 kilometers. To broadly engage with Albertans on the topic of raising the posted speed limit on divided rural highways, we also launched a public opinion survey available at alberta.ca Divided Highway Speed Limit Increase Survey. Transportation and Economic Corridors recognizes your municipality may be interested in this proposal. As a valued stakeholder, I ask that you consider the proposal outlined in this letter and provide your feedback no later than December 12th, 2025. I would also encourage you to complete the online survey and/or provide a direct response by email. Alberta's highway provides efficient connections between communities, businesses, jobs, and services. Investment in highway infrastructure creates jobs, supports long-term economic growth, and helps position our province as a place with world-class transportation networks, infrastructure, and economic corridors. All feedback received will be carefully considered, and a summary of the survey and results will be shared with stakeholders following the consultation period. Thank you for your time and thoughtful engagement on this matter. Sincerely, Paul Smith, Deputy Minister of Alberta Transportation and Economic Corridors.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, let's start with Councillor Rowawa.
Just curious what exactly they're asking. They're asking us for us to support it, or just our feedback on what we think of the rule change, or like are they wanting us to discuss it and then support the change? Like what exactly it is that they're asking?
Well, I think that if we individually wanted to take the survey, and we'll make this survey available to the residents of our community. But again, too, let's people look to council and what our discussion would be on something like this. Would we support something going on the outside of our town? So, what are your thoughts?
I will say, living in the States last year, a lot of their highways are faster than 110 kilometers. So I don't know if it seemed that there is less accidents and stuff like that, but just in my year living there, it did seem like there was less. But at the same time, going up causes people in winter conditions to not really slow down, and that can also lead to stuff. So it's kind of, I see both benefit and the what can be wrong with it.
So on Highway 16, how fast do you normally go?
Seeing my mom might be listening to the meeting, I'm gonna not comment on that, but typically the speed limit.
Really? Councillor Jagalik, what are your thoughts on 120 on outside of town here?
Well, this survey, they did publicize a number of weeks ago, so for sure, I would encourage everyone to fill it out on, an individual basis. But I think as a municipality, if people want to send us their feedbacks, that we can take that and then submit it, in a broader perspective, we can certainly do that. There's pros and cons to everything. You're going to have half the population be on board with it and half not. So I think this is one of those situations where your individual feedback are going to carry the most weight. So if we can advertise as well that this is obviously going to affect our community, it goes right past us, then that will help to get a greater reach.
Councillor Brajak.
Okay, and I would agree that we need to share the link on our website to gather more feedback from the public. Again, I agree with Colby that definitely in the States they do travel fast, and I have traveled 80 miles an hour with my grandchildren in the car because that is just the flow of traffic. You just keep going with the flow, and just seems a bit safer to keep up and not be driving too slow. So I can see the benefit of increasing the speed limit from 110 to 120, seeing as most people travel 120 anyway already. So yeah, I agree to share this survey so that we can get as many opinions as possible to the government.
Okay, well, I wonder what that speed demon, Councillor Rudick thinks. Are you with us, Councillor?
I have to take my foot off the gas, but yes.
Oh, yeah.
I don't have a problem providing personal input on this. It does twig another question for me, though, and sort of in the wake of Manager Jameson Brown's presentation earlier, we at one time did have statistics on the number of people that are commuting in to Vegreville and out of Vegreville. So I'd be curious to hear what commuters other than me might think, and also have an idea of how many people this affects. The other thing that it twigs for me is the province removing our ability to derive any revenue off of any traffic tickets that are on Highway 16. All that to say, I am realistic and supportive of increasing the speed limit, as long as the other part of the equation in terms of safety is adhered to, and would encourage folks to reply to that survey, and also have those other questions about, you know, if we're able to get a sense of how many commuters we have coming in and out of the community too.
Well, we have one more now. Okay, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. Yeah, a lot of if traveling to Calgary, 120 is not even the low limit sometimes down there, right? But speed begets speed. So a lot of times if people think that 120 is the normal, then they're going 130. So definitely something to pose to the public. Although getting those Rough Rider fans back to Saskatchewan faster is probably not a bad thing. Other than that, I'm not 100% sure. I would like to look at the survey and look at some more info. So.
Councillor Lemko.
Thanks, Your Worship. If you, like me, travel on the highway to Edmonton and back and out at 110, I'm in the slow lane because I need to be. The people are driving at that speed, 120 plus, all the time. So I'll take the survey. It makes a lot of sense, but I don't think Gerald, Councillor Lemko sitting here is whatever I think is going to make an impact on the minister's decision whether there's increase or decrease the speed limit.
I would actually agree with you, like some of the decisions that the government of Alberta is making, even if there was overwhelming support not to, they would probably still do it. When I'm on a double lane highway, I do travel at 120. That's where I feel very comfortable at, is 120. I'm sure that's where it's going to get to. I wouldn't propose it for any other than a double lane highway, but well, we'll see. Hopefully the citizens will be able to take the survey themselves and hopefully maybe have some influence on the decision. So, okay, next up, CAO Ling, we have the fees and charges bylaw, the draft, sorry.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. This is regarding the draft 2026 fees and charges bylaw. So the Town of Vegreville's fees and charges bylaw is reviewed annually by senior management team and revised to reflect the changes made to the town budget and the needs of the organization and facilities. The draft 2026 fees and charges bylaw is being presented to Town Council for discussion. If Council is in favor of the proposed amendments, this bylaw may proceed to the November 24th, 25 Council meeting for all three readings. Administration is proposing the following amendments. So Schedule A, the access to information, the access to information fees, which was previously the FOIP fees. This schedule has been updated to reflect the current legislation. We do not set these fees ourselves. These fees are set out by the provincial government, and we are not allowed to change them. Schedule B, administrative fees, which was previously Schedule A. Assessment information request, previously no charge, has been increased to $55 per hour, a minimum charge of $27.50, with an additional fee of 30 cents per page for photocopying. This was previously recommended by our municipal assessment services and is in line with the practices of other municipalities. Schedule C, airport fees and charges. All fees and charges have been increased by 3%. Schedule D, animal fees and charges. There's been no changes. Schedule E, arena admission fees and charges. The non-ice surface has been increased by $5 to a total of $50 per hour. This is in alignment with the multiplex non-ice surface hourly rate. Shinny hockey and public skating drop-in fees should match drop-in rates for the aquatics and fitness center. Administration has not revised these arena fees, but are recommending that council consider adjusting fees aquatic and fitness center drop-in fees to be discussed in Schedule R. Schedule F, the building permit fees. All fees and charges on page 9 have been increased by 10% with the exception of mobile home setup and baseline development if on foundation. Schedule G, there's no changes. Schedule H, the cemetery fees, no changes. Schedule I, criminal record and live scan fees, there's no changes. Schedule J, event center facility fees and charges. Because the museum building is currently for sale, administration is now recommending that the schedule for event center facilities fees and charges be removed from this bylaw. Schedule J, fire fees and charges, there's no changes. Schedule K, labor, equipment, and vehicle rental rates. The following hourly rates have been adjusted. Utility operator supervisor without vehicle goes from $71.88 to $73.32. Laborer without vehicle was at $49.20, is now $50.18. Traveling out of town with vehicle was 81 cents a kilometer, now it's 83 cents a kilometer. Street sweeper with operator was $235 an hour, is now $237. New Holland skid steer with operator goes from $158.70 to $160. New Holland skid steer with operator with attachments was $182.50 and goes to $183.80. Unit 455 backhoe has been removed from Schedule K. 2 new pieces of equipment have been included. So Unit 587, the John Deere 410P, so with operator is $162.18 per hour. With operator with tamper is $178.40 per hour. With operator with breaker is $194.62 per hour. Unit 583, the New Holland L328 skid steer, with operator is $160 per hour, and with operator with attachments is $183.80 per hour. Schedule L, the library complex rental fees and charges. Optional for events, $200 setup and tear down fee. This is in line with the same fee at the social center. Schedule M, the multiplex facilities fees and charges. There's no changes. Schedule N, municipal enforcement fees and charges. All patrol service rates have been increased by 3%. An administrative fee for property clean has been increased by 3%. Schedule O, planning and development fees, there's no changes. Schedule P, playground and sports fields Schedule P, playground and sports fields fees and charges. All fees for Riverview Ball Diamonds have increased to capture the costs of staffing. So adult slow pitch goes from $450 to $500 per team. Tournaments, $20 to $45 per hour per diamond and a 2-hour minimum rental. Minor ball from $10 to $15 per player per season. Private rentals are being brought forward for council's consideration. This would allow fees to be applied to bookings that utilize the Parks and Open Spaces permit, which is in Bylaw 12/2022. These bookings would be arranged through the Recreation Department and communicated to the visitor information staff as required. Schedule Q, recreation facility fees and charges. So administration is recommending removing the 20 punch pass. This is rarely purchased. The 20 punch pass offers $4 to $10 in saving compared to purchasing compared to purchasing 2 10 punch passes. Administration is recommending reintroducing a 1-month pass rate. This is frequently requested by users. Below is a breakdown of fees and charges for comparable pool facilities. There is substantial variance in certain fees. For example, family passes. Administration is requesting direction of council regarding the aquatic and fitness center fees. What kind of gradual increases would council like to see to close the gap for these fees? And I'm not going to go through all the fees. Schedule R, which is the signage permit fees, there is no changes. Schedule S, snow haul permit fees, there is no changes. Schedule T, social center facility fees and charges, no changes. Schedule U, solid waste fees. Garbage fees have increased for the following. Additional non-residential collection per container goes from $18.50 to $20.35. Monthly bin rental, $70 to $77. Landfill tipping fees have increased for the following. Euthanized domestic animals per cubic meter from $38 to $41.80. Residential commercial per ton from $35 to $38.50. Non-residential commercial per ton from $90 to $99. Hydrocarbon soil acceptance application fee from $500 to $550. Approved hydrocarbon soil per ton is from $50 to $55. Hydrovac commercial waste fees have increased for the following. A 3-ton axle for resident is increasing to $130 and non-resident $260. 5-ton axle is $160 for resident and non-resident is $320. Tandem axle is $196 for residential and non-residential is $392. A tri-drive is $226 for residential and $452 for non-resident. Truck and trailer, $394 for resident and $788 for non-resident. And new after hours is doubled for non-residents. Scheduled V, utility fees and charges. Water rates have increased for the following. Per cubic meter from $3.84 to $3.93. Bulk water volume charge per cubic meter, $7.31 to $7.53. New bulk water replacement fobs are $25, and new additional commercial bulk water fobs are $25. And then for the visitor Schedule W, Visitor Information Center fees and charges, there's been no changes. So that was a quick and dirty review. Does council have any questions or anything specific they would like to talk about?
The backhoe never did show up again. We're not renting the backhoe. I mean,
The equipment list is for us to more so be able to do work in kind for community groups. Let's say we donated $10,000, we use these rates. This equipment does not go out the door.
well, the hydrovac commercial waste fees, I would imagine once these are introduced, I know there's gonna be 2 non-residents that are going to go.
We've had conversations with the hydrovac hauler in the core of the town.
Yeah.
And no issues, it's time. He did ask that with the increase, if we could make the drop area for him a little more convenient. We've done some cleaning up out there. I did contact the other vac hauler that has an in-town license last week and left a message on his phone and have not received an answer back. So I haven't got that. The vac truck rates have increased a lot in the last 3 to 4 years. Like, we were quite surprised when we went back and did another one from 3 years ago. These rates where we're taking their There's usually tri-drives that show up, so when they're showing up, you know, the rates that we're advertising here, proposing at 392 for non-resident is still in the average of other places. Some are a little less money, but they're also a far enough distance away, and when we check, when they come here to unload, they're coming here with a tri-drive, unloading instantly and on their way, and at some of the other places, they're waiting 2 and 3 hours to just unload, so they're not waiting to save $30 an hour. It's not gonna happen. So we've seen this as a good opportunity to help with the town's budget this year, for sure.
Well, and again, we're not out of line with any of these prices, so.
No.
Anybody, Councillor Jabalik, you can start us up there.
Yes, I just have a question for a little bit more clarification. Are these user fees and charges typically increased on a yearly basis? And the reason I ask is, some of these are nominal, and I feel like they would accurately represent inflation for operating costs and staffing and things like that. But some of them are, the proposed fees are in excess of 300% increase. So like specifically the hydrovac that Mayor McPhee was just referring to. But in the recreation facility fees and charges, in addition to my first question, I would also like to know, is the proposed pricing, would you say, strictly based on just trying to get us up to par with our neighboring municipalities in the chart that you've demonstrated there? Or how did we arrive at those numbers?
First of all, we do a fees and charges bylaw every year. That has made it much easier to only review the one bylaw versus every separate bylaw that these fees used to be in. And also, we do this in preparation with budget as well. So annually, you will see this about this time every year. The recreation facility fees and charges, we task our staff and our departments with ensuring that our pricing is not out of whack with either being way too high or way too low. And when we find areas that we are sufficiently lower than everybody else, it becomes a way for us to increase revenue with still being fair to the public. And the pool rates definitely have been a little slow to climb up with the rest of the neighboring communities.
When I figured those out, I took an average. I took those 4 communities and divided it by 4. And that's how much, I'm not suggesting we price that at that, but just so you guys are aware, for our surrounding communities, that's the difference in price. I think we'll be hung out to dry if we try to increase them that high. So it's looking for you guys for some direction on what percentage you want to raise that up, but it should go up continually yearly till we come close to that. We're not going to recoup our costs out of those buildings unless we do that.
I mean, we'll never recoup our costs.
No.
But if we can get
closer.
30%
I'd be
of our
happy.
costs, we'd be happy. And as long as everybody understands that, a 30% recoup is where we're trying to get. Go ahead, Councillor Rawawa.
Kind of to touch on a little bit what Councillor Jagalik was saying. So how many years have we been significantly lower, or is this like just 1 year thing? They're raised up and we're trying to match a little bit.
It's the first deep dive I've done into this.
Okay.
We are significantly behind, as you can see.
And then I had just one other question for Director Lefebvre. So with the renting, typically how many times, like, is it quite often that people rent stuff from the town, or is that not, it doesn't happen too often?
It virtually never happens. But if we go do something for someone, provide a service, I've got labor, the backhoes, the trucks, and I can say this cost us $11,000. And I have something I can gauge what our in-kind is. We do some commercial street sweeping at times, so I have a street sweeper in there. Some of the stores in town will say, come do my parking lot. So we do some rentals, but it's always our operator, our equipment, our schedule.
But we do a lot of in-kind work at different events. And so when the nonprofit is saying, well, I wonder what we would put down for a costing on that in-kind, or we say that, well, you know, last year we did so much for the golf course, for instance. And then we can go back to what the fees and services by charges bylaw looks like. So if it was 4 hours in a hoe and a skid steer with an operator, so we can now say, well, this is what we've donated as a municipality. And then at the Ag Society, and, you know, like we're always putting out bins and garbage, and it just, all these events, we're working behind the scenes nonstop, right? So. Anybody else? Go ahead, Councillor Lemko.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just looking over the recreation proposed increase for 2026, I am not comfortable with that amount of increase. I can't see us. We would, it just doesn't make sense because there's a lot of numbers there that are a lot higher than what they are. I'd be comfortable with anywhere from 7 to 10% increase, but not increase in the family.
That's just to
of
show
that high.
you the big difference, right?
Oh, for sure. I understand we're lower in a lot of areas and based on communities that are here, but there's no way I would approve an increase like that.
Okay, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. For me too, I mean, whoever you talk to, they're gonna say that the fees are too high anyway, and we know that they're down. We should bring them up for sure. We just need to find a proper staggered way to do it. Same thing, I'm happy to see that the charge is up for the ball, for the slow pitch, for sure. I warned them all about that last year. I said, like, this is something that needs to happen, and they themselves said, we talked to our friends in different towns in the city, theirs is much higher. So if we need to increase it, we need to increase it to be on par because things cost more and inflation.
That's right. Really just looking for some direction on where you guys want to go with that, on a percentage basis or a dollar basis, right?
Councillor Rudick.
So just taking a look at, overall, it looks fine to me. I guess I would be curious, Councillor Curtis and Lemko, you're looking at the annual family pass increase, for example. Is that the disparity that you see as quite drastic? Because that looks like almost a 50% increase.
Yeah, well, definitely that one, and, you know, the adult senior yearly, but.
Yeah, I do feel like there's, you know, sort of going back to the kind of engagement that we've had with the public lately, there are very few places that families can access in our community that we provide to them. Recreation facilities is one of them. And I do feel like there's a delicate balance. We did task Manager Kuzmic with generating more income and having the fees be more on par with what's available in the region, but that is a big increase. And when we're talking about families that are, in a lot of cases, struggling, I think that's too much to ask. You know, $1,220 is a lot of extra money for folks, especially if they're used to buying it. I guess the other part that would be helpful to know is how many people are actually buying it. You know, so that might be an important piece of that conversation. I do have a question though. I had somebody ask me about the different rates of pickleball. I don't see this in here because perhaps that's covered in another previous schedule that's already released, but I don't know if there's a variation in prices for pickleball as there are, for example, different ages accessing the aquatic center.
I'll touch on pickleball. It's usually a $2 drop-in, but they're all different groups, right? So if their group charges them something else, we only charge by the person at $2.
And that's on an honor system.
Yeah, we don't have any staff there. It's all a group ran. We do meet with them 2-3 times a year, see how things are going, and you know, and they should be aware costs should be going up for them too at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean, at $2 a player, it doesn't even pay for the lighting. And I, you know, but I know there's a lot of people out there that are struggling, but you know what? If we can't get our fees more in line, I mean, there has to be some will of council to represent that there's got to be a bottom line that we need to get to on recouping our cost. I mean, some municipalities that work at like a 38 to 40% recoup. Now, just to say that it's not fair because we've undercharged for so long that we still need to undercharge. I mean, I don't think that's the right attitude for us to take. You know, I mean, because that, again, are we doing anybody any favors, really, by undercharging to a point where it just doesn't make sense? Go ahead, Councilor Rudick.
I think in the absence of knowing how many people we're impacting, it's difficult to make that decision, because I don't think any of us are saying, as you suggested, that continuing to undercharge is prudent, but I do think that increasing so quickly would be difficult for families to absorb that quickly. But I also need to know, is this, 10 families or is this 100 families?
I can look into that. I do want.
Because I think, like you do have some statistics about suggesting that the punch card isn't as used. I mean, that was actually something that was proposed previously, but obviously that isn't as popular as the month by month drop in. So I do feel like there is a threshold. I'm not sure that I know what the threshold is.
I do want to mention too, guys, just food for thought. So thanks to Leslie. If you look at that family pass, if we only increased it at 10%, it would be year 2033 before we hit 1,300. It's a pretty far cry away. I mean, reality is we got to increase it. And again, I'll leave that up to you 7 or what we want to increase it to, but that's the reality we're at. You got to pay to play to a degree.
Okay, Councilor Waugh.
I do understand the argument of Councilor Rudick and Councilor Lemko of it being such a significant increase right away, and I do agree with your argument, Your Worship, in the fact of we need to increase to get some money back. What I would like to propose that we discuss as a council is figure out, somewhere in the middle where we're not raising it way too high, but we're not raising it, or we're not just leaving it as is. Find out the numbers of what we currently have for people buying the annual pass right now, and then see once we raised it, if we did have a significant drop off of the people buying the annual pass, or if it did stay fairly in par with a fairly significant raise, but not raised all the way to that par level, if that makes sense.
Okay, so we need to give admin some direction, because this bylaw goes hand in hand with our budget. So, that being said, I think that whatever we do will be in stages. 1 year, next year, we need to commit to that and do an education piece for the public, that in 3 years, we'll probably still won't be anywhere near where these other municipalities are. Don't forget, if our filtration system goes down the pool, we're looking at $3 million to replace it, or the pool won't be open. Go ahead, Councillor Jagalik.
Does anyone know off the top of their head, more or less, over the last 5 years or even 3 years, what percentage we've increased these values at? I think that's where I'm struggling. Is it just I feel like we didn't in the past, and now we're forced with paying the price, literally and figuratively?
No, we've had increases.
Yeah, nothing crazy though.
But they were just increases based on like inflationary pressures. What we've never really looked at is what other municipalities are charging. And again, I would imagine the Camrose pool is a lot nicer than ours. And we need to consider that too. But still, we have non-taxpayers in this community that are in our community at our pool nonstop, to the point where regular taxpayers have a hard time getting in to the pool on Sunday because it's full of outside residents or people that don't live in our community. So, do we need a two-tier system? Well, we've seen from outlying counties, when we looked at our rec facility, everything was going good until they seen that, of course, there would be some involvement if your residents are here, and then they stop coming to the meetings. So they would like to leave everything on the shoulders of the taxpayers of Vegreville. which again is not very collaborative. But and again, I am not opposed to a two-tier fee. Because if the county of Two Hills, for instance, doesn't feel that their residents are filling our pool on Sundays, they're one of the biggest users of our facilities, more so than our own residents. They contribute not a dime. Does anybody feel that we should hold our prices so we don't upset non-taxpayers? Go ahead, Councillor Jagalik.
I don't think it's non-taxpayers that we're working for here at this table. Of course, they're within our region, but I wouldn't broach this subject looking at it that way personally. I would be comfortable with a 7%. I've played with some numbers here. I think 10 is a lot in some of these categories. 5 feels too little. For me right now, I would be comfortable with around 7. So depending what the rest of the table thinks.
7 for residents?
7% overall. I mean, a two-tier system, if that's, I would need way more information on something like that and how that works in other municipalities. And that's the first I've heard of it. I've never visited anywhere where that pricing was indicated. So I think there would be sufficient research that would have to be done before we incorporated something like that. I'm not saying it couldn't work, and I understand where you're coming from with that in terms of taxes are what keeps these amenities in operation. But I think that would fall on Manager Kuzmic to do a deep dive.
Well, we do have a rec agreement with the county of Minburn, and they actually pay a portion of all of our rec facilities. But the county of Lamont, the county of Beaver, the county of Two Hills, these other counties don't contribute a dime. Should their residents get the same deal, the same discount as the county of Minburn and the town of Vegreville residents, whose tax dollars go in to support this? That's the question. Go ahead, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I agree on that too. When we did our investigation with the new rec facility and got percentages of people outside of the town and the county of Minburn who used it, you know, some of it was quite high. As well as how are the passes working, how are they using them, how are we making sure that, you know, they're paying their fair share even as the prices are now, is something that needs to be looked at too. So I'm not opposed to it either. I agree with Councillor Jagalik as to look at what other municipalities or other facilities are doing when it comes to a two-tiered system, but we're recouping, you know, those counties aren't putting money in, as you said. There's no funding coming to us. They're not reaching out to fix a pump or doing anything like that, saying, hey, we know that 20% of our residents use your facilities, right? So that's a potential. As far as upping this, for me, potentially a 10% on these, and maybe look at some of the larger gaps ones that a little differently. But even if we went along and with the other 3 communities that are brought forward, even if we matched with the lowest ones on some of these, we said, hey, we're moving up in our pricing, but we're going to match with the lowest, whatever one it is. If Wainwright's the lowest for the monthly student, match them. If Wainwright or Lac La Biche is lowest for the senior, match with them. That's a potential there that I could see working. So.
Okay. Do you have a comment, CAO Ling?
Yes, I do. Sorry, I just did a quick little look back in our old fees and charges bylaw. We have not touched the rates since 2021 fees and charges bylaw. And actually 2021 was in COVID, so we dropped the fees. And so we've been running discounted fees since then. Before COVID, our family pass fee was $735.
That is good to know. Thank you.
Oh, sorry, Councilor Riddick, I was checking my numbers again.
That's quite all right. There's a lot of numbers to pay attention to. I guess the other part of this is the volume of people that are using this, and that would be important for me to know too. We do know that other communities do have tiered access prices for entering their rec facilities. If you go to another community, you're charged as a non-resident. We have chatted about that. I guess we need to decide that separate from this discussion here today. And I appreciate CAO Ling looking back on that. I thought for sure that we had changed some of our rec pricing post-COVID, because that is something that we talked quite long about, is increasing the amount of revenue that we can generate in our rec facilities. And the other part of the equation is not just increasing the price, which obviously we need to do, particularly because we haven't kept pace with what our intention was during COVID. But the other part is I really would be curious to know how many passes are we selling? Are we actually increasing the usage and making sure that our residents are utilizing these facilities, which is an important part of that conversation as we look at that rec feasibility study as well. That might be something that we need Manager Kuzmic to come back with, but I am curious about that part as well as we make these decisions.
Okay, Councilor Curtis?
Thank you very much. I do have a question, Manager Kuzmic, just with the family pass, that is 2 adults, 2 children, 2 adults, 3 children?
I believe we changed it to unlimited children.
It's unlimited? Okay.
They gotta be their children though, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, CAO Ling, because just, you know, they all, like I've seen people come in there with 8 children.
Yes, they have to be their children and under 18.
Yes, the family pass, the family definition on the bylaw is up to 2 adults living together in one household, acting as the primary caregivers to children under the age of 18 years. No limit on the number of children.
Is it,
I never see anybody taking advantage of that.
yeah, well, my thought process on that is it could be discouraging for some to purchase it if, you know, it's laid out as 2 adults and 4 children or whatever, what have you. If you're like, I have 3 children, I have 2 children, could that cost be different because there's not that many people using it compared to a family of 5 or 6? Food for thought.
How about this? How about you bring it back with the pre-COVID pricing? Show us what a 10% increase looks on pre-COVID.
And just a cautionary, I only checked the family passes up to 2021. I didn't go through everyone. So from just a quick glance here, it looks like the current prices are in line, but there might be an outlier, just saying.
Could you just repeat that number, CAO Ling, please? The pre-COVID value of the family pass in 2021, 700?
The family pass, a 1-year family pass was $735.
Okay, so Mayor McPhee, just to your suggestion of going back to the 2021 prices and looking at a 10% hike on that, that's going to put us significantly over and above what these values are now that we're looking at, correct?
So $733 times 10%? 8. So, yeah, $806.
Correct. But, yeah, for sure. I'm just pointing out that the previous suggestion, so my 7%, Councillor Curtis's potential 10% recommendation was based on the current pricing. So if we're gonna go and if we're gonna advise administration to use the 2021 prices and put 10% on that, that's going to be significantly higher than what I did my math on with my 7% and Councillor Curtis did his on his 10. I'm just saying that we can anticipate those numbers are gonna come back much higher than what I'm forecasting and what we're forecasting based on these numbers. So just wanting to point that out before we.
Yeah, well, I get it 100%. I certainly do. And
What if we look at going back to 2021 prices for 2026 and move forward with an increase for the following 3-4 years?
yeah, and we need to commit to the constant adjusting it. And we're never going to get to where these other municipalities are, but we gotta be somewhat more in line. I mean, people don't really care that we dropped the prices. They didn't care. It's like we dropped taxes during COVID, 3%. And then 2 years after COVID, we raised them up, that 3% to get back where we were 2 years ago. People blew their top off. But nobody was congratulating us for dropping them that 3% and going that 3 years at that level. But then we tried to get back to where we were. It was just a big pushback, right? And I can't believe that we haven't touched these since the reduction in COVID times. That's, go ahead.
Thank you very much. I feel like we upped the ball fees last year.
I think
we not up the-
year before we upped them a little bit. But there
They
was
were
no,
separate
there was
than the
nothing
whole
in the
schedule.
bylaw. There was nothing in the bylaw for ball fees. We had put it in the bylaw last year.
Well, what do we need? What do we need from admin to make it, we get to a point where we're gonna have put something, together that we're gonna vote on? I mean, go ahead, Councillor, Brodziak.
Could I also request that you add another column there to say how much it is per person instead of like per person per month or per time? Because if you look at the 1220, it does sound quite like a lot, but if it's for 10 people, it really isn't. I mean, it's like less than
Well, it's a
cup of coffee.
family.
So,
I mean,
you know, it would be, it just would offer a different perspective. So I think if we just look at how much we're willing to spend even on, you know, if a family's willing to go spend $50 to Dairy Queen after coming swimming, then it might be worth, you know, it might be worth their while to.
well, I don't know.
It's just easier to look at, like the number 1,220 seems daunting, like it just seems like a high number, but when you really break it down to how many people are actually
So would you
being
like it
served by
broke down to a family of 5? Is that what we're gonna base it on?
I don't know. I mean, I don't understand how we get to this number you're looking for, because there's no limit on what a family represents. Go ahead.
To Councillor Brodziak's point, I just did the numbers there, and she is right when you think about it. Okay, so $1,200 for a family pass. Well, when you break that down by over a year, well, that's only actually, and say what an average family is a family of 4. Well, that's only actually $25 per person in your family a month. That's actually not as bad as originally when I looked at it and went, wow, that's a significant increase. But again, I do understand where people might complain about the significant increase. But, well, are going to complain. But to Councillor Brodziak's point, it actually isn't as bad of a deal when you actually break it down the numbers. I know people typically won't, but it actually isn't that bad of a deal when you do break it down.
This is no different than when we talk about the funding for the library. This is no different than people that never go to the arena. We have a certain obligation to at least try to recoup some of the cost. The library, we have no chance. We don't have any opportunity to recoup cost. But where we look at where we fit in to other municipalities and where they're charging at. So if we say that we're gonna look at a 10% increase this year, 10% next year, and 10% the third year, we still would not be at most of these numbers, the average that we're at right there, right now. Go ahead, Councillor Jagalik.
I agree with you, and to that I will say, it has to be done thoughtfully. And so the fact of the matter is, for me, we've now learned that we have not increased these prices since 2021. So, with all due respect, that falls on us. We should have done our due diligence in 2022 or 2023 coming out of COVID and raised those numbers back to what they were. It didn't happen, and now we are in the position that we're in. If we go ahead and increase this by, okay, going back to this family pass, yearly pass, so currently it is $622.50. If we raise it back to pre-COVID pricing at $735, that's an 18% increase. I understand that we want to be on par and we have an obligation to do that to a degree. I agree with you that I don't think we should be compared to Camrose. I think the facility is not, we're not comparing apples to apples there. But it has to be done thoughtfully. And so, sure, I can get on board with creating a plan over the next 3 or 4 years. But just to go to say, we used to be this amount, and now we want to get back to that amount and do it all in one shot, of course we're going to feel the wrath of that. We're not setting people up for success by breaking it to them gently. And when it comes to amenities like this that families utilize, it needs to be done thoughtfully. So that is where I stand on it. I think my recommendation to administration would be to find a happy medium. I think based on this conversation, you guys can kind of see where most of us are at. And then Councillor Brodziak, I just wanted to clarify, is your question perhaps for Manager Kuzmic that we add a column to show the cost savings of some of these passes? Because that's something I would like to know. What are they saving in that? And I think it does go back to a previous comment about maybe instead of choosing a percentage across the board or a dollar amount across the board, we have to do a deeper dive and look at doing higher increases for some things and a more reasonable increase for others. I think that's something to consider also.
Go ahead.
And to answer that question, the reason to ask about that separate column is just to compare how much it would cost per child or per person per month. More on a per month charge per person, so that it would reduce that number, and then you could get a better picture of, you know, a person could look at that and say, oh yes, I am willing to spend that much on my child per month. If it's $5 a month, yes, it's worth paying that, you know, $5 a month per child.
Now, would U7 entertain a monthly payment for a year pass? Something we're not set up to do, but whether your price is up here, then you make a monthly payment, but buy the year-long purchase.
What I would
Sorry,
propose right now is that we put a 3-year plan in place, that we raise 10% a year for 3 years. Go ahead, Councillor Curtis.
Thank you. And you're talking on the pre-COVID numbers or these numbers in front of us?
I'm okay to start at these numbers. We still, the family pass, and the family pass is the outlier here too, when we look at pre-COVID. It is the outlier, right? It is the one that was discounted the most, was the family pass.
The monthly family pass as well. The monthly family pass used to be $100, now it's $65.
Because right now, a family of 4 on the annual family pass is $13 a month each, right? And to me, that's to use the pool once. And again, you're $6.50 if you use the pool twice, and you're $3 if you use it three, etc. Right? So it's right now it's very low. So I agree we need to be gentle on how we're going to do this, and yeah, definitely an oversight that we haven't brought it up since then, and we'll get some information and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so, again, I don't think that we should ever be at Camrose prices. Lac La Biche has a fairly nice facility there. It's fairly new in that new center. Sorry, Councilor Riddick, go ahead.
Appreciate that we're all being very attentive and making sure that we're both delicate and responsible here. I don't want to miss the other part of the equation too, is I want to know how many people are actually purchasing these. I'd like to know the numbers that we're talking about to be able to have a target. So if we're actually tasking our recreation department to increase usage and increase revenue, the other part of the equation is increasing the numbers of people that are using it that are our residents. So if we could please, if I could please request that that be part of our reporting structure moving forward. You know, if we annually have only 10 families, that changes the math also. I didn't realize that we hadn't increased the price of the pool. we had talked about recreation quite extensively, the shinny rates and the hockey and the ball, but I didn't realize that this part of the schedule hadn't come back. So I'm glad that it did come back because it's overdue.
Well, I see in the budget, there's $60,000 more for lifeguard staffing in this year's budget. I mean, our increases are not even gonna, right now, are not even gonna cover the wages of this extra position that they wanna create, if council decides. Go ahead.
Just to confirm, that isn't an extra position, that is the variance between staffing changes that were made in 2022, 2023, and then not communicated to finance to update the budget. Because that, remember, aquatic wages have been over budget for a period of time, and that is because of the staffing hours that had changed for level of service discussions that were made at the time. Like, this is
It doesn't really matter what we do. I mean, with the approach we're taking, we're not even gonna get to that number that we're under on the new staffing levels.
Yes.
See, this is the role that people don't see that we have to deal with every day. When we try to be good to the citizens of Vegreville, or try to, like, because COVID was tough times and for everybody, and then we missed out on the piece of trying to bring them back to where they were. And now with some overstaffing issues, I mean, we can say whatever we want, but it's $60,000 that was never approved by council, ever, at that new level of staffing. No one ever said, council, do you agree that we're gonna be overstaffing by 60,000? Again, so that's $60,000 in the budget, and a 10% increase that I'm proposing right now this year on these, we don't even get to cover. That money will not even cover what's in the budget this year. Again, another dilemma. How do we figure this out? Does anybody want to talk about a two-tier system? Go ahead.
I'd like not administration, but I'd like Dan's, Manager Kuzmic's opinion on that two-tier system and what kind of implications would it have on your staff?
Good question. I've never worked with a two-tier system. I've seen them in one other place, and it's usually residential or non-residential, and there's two set prices. It's just a matter of asking them, right? But then anybody can lie. Rob.
Well, if they have a ID, if it starts with T9C, we know they're a Vegreville resident. And then we know what the three coastal codes would be that cover the portion of the county that they participate in. So we're looking for 4 postal codes on our driver's license. That's all we need to know. That's not that hard. Okay, well,
I'll give you one more statistic. We just had a 3-day sale from the 12th to the 14th. And in those days, we sold just shy of $12,000 in passes.
at these prices.
If we had them higher, it would have been obviously a little bit higher, but quite a bit higher.
Okay, well, the Councillor Rudick would like to find out how many passes are sold. What other information do the rest of us need? Go ahead, Councillor Lamco.
Just looking at the family pass, a drop-in of a family at the pool is $18. That could be anywhere, because it's unlimited amount of kids you could bring to the pool. If they came 4 times a month, 5 times a month, times 12 months, you would still not be anywhere close to the annual pass. I would not be buying an annual pass. So that's where Councillor Rudick is asking how many people actually buy family passes. So that might be a number that we're arguing about that doesn't really happen.
Yeah, you'd be crazy to buy. If you were going to the pool once a week, you would be crazy to buy a family pass. You would do the drop-in family.
Yeah, if you went how many times?
4 times a month, 864, 4 times a month, every month.
That's every weekend, but then you have to take your whole family.
I think the people that have the annual family pass probably would go a little more often than,
And potentially, yeah.
so how do we get there? Like, obviously, I guess this is gonna be in the budget coming up. So you guys all wanna wait till December the 2nd to discuss this more? I'll go ahead, Councilor Broadjet.
I think it almost sounds like the one item on there that, that is glaring, that it's an outlier, is the annual family pass. So perhaps that's the only number that needs to be changed.
Oh, no,
No?
no,
Well,
no, we,
like the other numbers seem to be, you know, fairly in line with,
a monthly.
Again, we can dig deeper, right? Get more communities.
There's really not a lot to dig into. I mean, like, what we see here, other than the amount of passes that are sold. Okay, CAO Link,
Just to, because we know we're not going to get through this discussion today, administration does have some work to do and to bring it back to you. Can I suggest that administration takes this, we go back, like we'll get the number of annual passes sold. There's a few other statistics that we can bring forward and bring forward a couple different suggestions for council. That might be an easier way in, versus you guys sitting here trying to figure this out. As long as we know that, like, we have a fairly good idea of where you all sit for.
You do?
What, well,
well, I can't get that feeling. I don't know how you did.
well, just, we can bring forward some of the suggestions you have made
Oh,
already,
so
like
it
the
would sound
7,
better.
the 7%, the 10%. We can do some other digging in the background, maybe cost out, family swims, how many guards we have versus how many people in the pool, and we need X amount of dollars to cover that hour of swim time, that sort of stuff. We can bring forward these numbers to you that might make the decision on the 2nd a little bit easier.
So would you bring a number forward that would represent the extra labor cost this coming year is 60,000? Do you think you could show us something like that?
Well, we can try, but I don't think
Because
anybody, yeah, no, I understand.
$60,000 more in this year's budget. It was in last year, it just wasn't in budget.
Yeah.
The costing was in there, it was just not reported. And 23 as well. So you guys just want admin to make recommendations and then we'll just call it a day, or?
I think we need something brought forward, a few things brought forward at least, which we can get more granular together on it and say, we like this or part of that, and work it together and Frankenstein something that works for everybody, but we need something brought forward to start.
Go ahead, Councilor.
Yeah, and I'm suggesting maybe that be brought forward prior to the decision-making on the 2nd so that we have time to digest it. Because sitting in the council chambers, trying to come up with a response on something that's brought forward today makes it difficult, especially with these numbers.
Exactly. I mean, we get sidelined or just blindsided a little bit where we're at. And again, I agree with Councilor Rudick, like, wow. And I guess we just never, it was never brought to us again, like where we are at with these prices. I mean, yeah, I don't remember ever going through this before. Like, I know when we cut the prices, I remember that. I just don't know why we've never looked at it again. So would everybody be fine with getting a couple of days' notice on some ideas from admin prior to the budget meeting? Go ahead, Councilor Wawa.
Yes, absolutely. I would be good with waiting and getting some information. But one thing I would ask is, well, when we're going and doing extra information, maybe could we also have a proposal for what it would look like under a two-tier system as well, so we could all see that and then have that be part of our discussion too?
Well, I'll just go, there's no sense in making a lot of work. Who here would be in favor of a two-tier system?
In favor of seeing how it works in other areas, right?
So I'll help you out here, okay? It's gonna be more than the resident.
No, I get that, but I haven't seen how it's doled out. So until we get some information back, then I will make a decision. But yes, I would like to see what it looks like or something brought back.
Yes, Your Worship, I would like to investigate a possible two-tiered system, just so that I can make a more informed decision.
And Your Worship, I know you've mentioned it before, but I want to just reiterate to the public out there who maybe didn't hear you say it, that the two-tier system would exclude the 3 postal codes that the County of Minburn already contributes to.
Exactly.
Okay, just to make that clear, that we acknowledge that the County of Minburn is contributing to the recreation through a recreation grant, and we do have, like you said, 3 postal codes that contribute, so this wouldn't affect them.
Well, I was guessing on the postal codes. But, I mean,
But they're
up to Ranfurly.
Yes.
So east to Ranfurly in this western portion of the county is what's supported in their rec agreement with the town. So you would be in favor of
Would be in favor
seeing?
of invest.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Councillor Jagalik.
I would as well, perhaps not right at this moment in time. I would like to focus on what we have going on here. I would also like to ask Manager Kuzmic if he is able to just include a call in there with the cost savings between the drop-in rates and the passes, because I'm seeing there's a big discrepancy in cost savings there. So if there's a major cost savings in some of those passes, then there's much more wiggle room to increase rates there. But eventually, yes, after we get this kind of into play and get these rates at a more accurate representation, then perhaps that could be phase 2, where we look at incorporating a 2-tier admission schedule.
Okay, so what you're asking, Manager Kuzmic, is to look at the difference in the different type of passes. So, but then it's based on how many times a family's gonna do a drop-in, and that would be, that information would, how would you?
You're correct, but that's in terms of the annual. Like, there would be a lot of math to do there, and again, given that there's too many variables with how many family members you have, the cost savings is going to vary greatly from family to family. But what I'm looking at is family pass drop-in is $18. 10 punch family is $80. That's a cost savings of $100. Do we need to be offering a cost savings of that amount? I don't think so. But in other areas, the cost saving is probably minimal. So that's going back to my earlier comment that I think it's not just a sliding scale. We kind of have to look at these individually. And I think the fact that we haven't done this in 4 years, it probably warrants it at this time, so that going forward, that increased schedule is much easier than what it is now.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Roy, when it comes to looking at a 2-tiered payment system.
Yeah, I'd definitely like to see just how it would look for as a proposal or whatever.
Okay, Councilor Rudick?
Yep, I think that's only prudent that we have the figures. Again, I do want to know overall, because they do point of sale, interaction with people coming into the pool, what kind of numbers we're talking about, because we've got people that are going from Two Hills to Fort Saskatchewan or Sherwood Park rather than coming to Vegreville. That wouldn't be my preference, because we do want to be able to support our local business community. At the same time, we need to be careful not to subsidize the recreation use of everybody in the region.
Okay, well, hopefully, from this conversation that you guys can, that admin can try to decipher what the information we'll need, and, we'll move forward from there. Okay, any other questions on the fees and charges bylaw? Go ahead, Director Lefebvre.
Just one comment on planning development fees. There is no increase in fee on this, but what we found is, for the file searches, we charge out at $100. And that's typically for environmental site assessments, bigger companies that wanna, and the files are large. And then we have residents that are requesting a file search of their own resident. And that's typically to get a survey, even if it's an old one, and we don't charge for that. So we've added that in, that there's no charge for a resident doing a file search on their residence. Because all we wanna do is help them get information. It's usually because they wanna place a fence and we wanna get it on the property line so it's correct, instead of just guessing. So just let council know, we have been doing that at no charge, but now it's formally listed in here.
What about if a resident was to come in to do a file search on a piece of property they don't own?
They will pay the $100 to get it done, and we redact the information.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay. So let's go around the table. And we're gonna start with Councillor Lepko.
Thanks, Your Worship. Other than all the events that are happening in the, with all the discussion we've had, I've had a lot of people coming and asking questions and all that, and just too many to mention. But it's busy. It's busy as a councillor today.
For sure. Councillor Curtis.
Thank you very much. Yeah, pretty busy. Lots of talk again about our last meeting with the library, and I think people understanding where we're coming from, but also seeing, you know, the library's point of view, and nice to have everybody out supporting and you know, being heard. I appreciate people coming to the meeting, so that was some of the discussion I had, and that's about it.
Councillor Rudick.
Well, we've all been very busy with completing our mandatory training, etc., and also attending Alberta municipalities. But I have had a few people reach out. The pickleball question is one that popped up, that people aren't getting charged the same amount. I'm not sure if that's the next contentious issues, chickens, libraries, and pickleball. But the other thing, I've had a lot of people reach out and ask for more information. And I think because people are so interested in a couple of key issues, it's great that they're interested in the work that we do at the local level. But I just want to remind people that they can pick up a phone, they can send us an email, send a text, call our administration, and there's absolutely no need to start a petition. Just to make it clear that that isn't necessary, that any of the 7 of us are always willing to take a phone call. So just a reminder.
Petition. Councillor Gracia.
I have heard a little bit about a petition, but anyway. Yeah, I've also been busy with the Alberta Munis Convention last week and council training and the budget meeting yesterday. It's really nice to see that there's a lot of communication and a lot of interest in all the economic development that is going on in Vegreville. So we're looking forward to probably, or hopefully, sharing some good news in the near future. The vacancy rate is probably next to nil still, so looking forward to getting that apartment building. It doesn't look like it'll take them very long, because I think they had said that they would be ready within 6 months. Is that their target date? Anyway.
Well, I think that Thursday, if we can get the water pressure testing done, they can get their foundation and they'll know the size of the water main they need to run under there. So that'll be the next step. So,
Okay.
and that test is scheduled for Thursday.
But yeah, looking forward to all this economic development activity happening here. So it's great to share.
Thank you. Councillor Jagalik.
Thank you, Mayor McPhee. Yes, I have to reiterate what's already been said, that there's been a lot of conversation about the library. I just wanted to commend everyone that has reached out, sent letters, that showed up here that evening. I attended virtually, but as a new counselor, that's really encouraging because, you know, our job here is to represent the people in our community, and if that engagement stops, then I feel like that makes our job a lot harder. So I just want to commend everyone that sent letters. I think I got 16. I imagine everyone else at the table got about the same. Administration got another dozen or so. So in the grand scheme of things, those numbers might seem low, but I feel like in a municipality our size, and given our history and Councillor Rudick's previous comment about having more feedback on this topic than COVID, that says a lot. So yeah, I just wanted to thank everyone. That's it for me.
Thank you. Councillor Rowawa.
Same as everyone else, been busy with Alberta Munis, the budget, and everything. But I did have one question that was brought up to me yesterday during our tourism meeting. It was from a guy who was, or a resident who's new to town, and he was asking me about the, whatever you want to call them, billboards, advertisement boards coming down 16 as you enter town, and just Jameson elaborated a little bit on it, you know, explaining that we quote unquote like kind of lease that area out to places, and what the question and concern that this resident had was that some of them are vacant and there's nothing on it. I was just curious how exactly those billboards work, if there's any kind of like enforcement on our side of whether stuff is on it, or exactly just how it works, just because when he asked me, I wasn't too sure on that answer, and I wanted to be able to give him some feedback.
Director Lefebvre is about to tell you.
Yeah, there's two different types. They're not billboards. They're a freestanding sign, just a little different, because if somebody looks it up in the land use bylaw, they'll be reading two different things. Yeah, and there is an agreement. It is to have something on it. It has to be actively advertising, and that's based on the development department's opinion of, is this sign in good shape? They're supposed to all be very similar in size, so that they look consistent as we go down the line. I know that two of them out there, one on the east side, one on the north side and one on the south side of Highway 16A, are only advertising on one side as you come by, so that may be why someone's feeling there's nothing on it. And there is one that we have reached out to a few times to pretty it up, and we're not getting much of a response. In fact, I just talked with the staff about that one today, that we'll have another look and we'll send out, if it's not the third, it's the fourth request to fix it up. And if it doesn't, we will pick it up and we will haul it out and put it into storage, and the owner would have to pay to get out of storage. We like the looks of our coming into town looking uniform and tidy, not junky. What you see there today is a huge improvement of the show that was going on years ago, where it was just a free-for-all, just put signs of any kind anywhere. So with council wanting to provide some input on how, and working with infrastructure and planning and development, we're able to come up with this system so that we have control over it.
So every space is rented, a yearly charge for it, and there's a waiting list for people to go down there. In front of Vegreville Ford and the implement dealer, those ones, we lease that boulevard to those businesses, I think for $10 a year, for advertise their own goods. They're the largest taxpayers in the town. So then just west of AA trailers, there's a few spots that are open there, 2 spots there. AA trailers showed some interest in parking some trailers on the boulevard. We don't actually have a rental agreement with them on that boulevard right now, but we're going to be going for a tour and stuff out there, and they're just really settling into the new building, and of course they're adding on and stuff. But we will get to the point we'll negotiate with them. So we haven't rented out any more on the north side. On that boulevard, we're sure they're going to take it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say thank you for clarifying that, so I'm able to get back to him. That helped a lot. Thank you.
So if somebody would like that you're talking to, they would get a hold of Dale's department, and they could get on a list. Okay. Okay, well, of course, I've had no phone calls and no emails and nothing the whole week. I've had lots of emails and lots of conversations with people. Again, the people that are passionate about the library. We have some letters that are coming that to the council meeting from some members of the public that were here, thought basically that my message to them was delivered inappropriately. I've had members of the community that have thanked me for fighting to keep the taxes down. I said that we're all in this together. I mean, watch a budget meeting, you'll understand. I mean, just looking at the swimming prices right now, these are all challenging. Everybody has their pet in the community. So, and we just need to filter through that and try to make the best decisions that we possibly can. So that being said, let's move on to director's highlights, and we're going to start with Director Saskew.
Thank you, Worship. I'm just trying to open up the right one here. Okay, so I have some highlights from corporate services. Our audit RFP update, as we brought to the council meeting last week, we have appointed Synergy CPAs as the town's new auditors, and we're working on next steps of onboarding. So hoping to have a touch base meeting, and we are jumping right into interim audit, which is normally done by the end of 2025. And then year-end audit, which takes place between February and March in 2026. So financials due April of 2026. So gearing up for that. Our assessors, we have been working closely with our municipal assessors, completing the onboarding of Accurate Assessment Group and working through assessment complaints from the summer. So those are the ones that were submitted to the prior assessors and then transferred to the new assessors as part of the agreement. This has actually been relatively pain-free, and we're looking forward to receiving our assessments from the new assessors early in the new year. So these assessments will be used together with net taxes collected that we are going to set in our 2026 budget in the coming month to calculate the 2026 mill rates. So stay tuned for that. Other items that I have, the annual small business declarations, our favorite topic. They are available and must be submitted by December 31st, 2025 by end of day, like end of business day, to ensure that your corporate small business receives the small business incentive, which as a reminder has been a 20% discount on the non-residential municipal mill rate. These forms are available on our website for ease of electronic submission, and that is actually our preferred method. So it's submitted electronically, you get a confirmation email that it's been received, and then it goes directly to our email. So those ones have been lovely to receive that way. As always, we do still accept paper copies, but we do prefer them electronic. Also, as a reminder, as this comes up every single year, home-based businesses need not apply because the residential mill rate is much more favorable than the small business rate or the industrial rate. So corporate small businesses do not need to apply for this. It's only like home-based businesses. It's only for if you own or rent a business in the downtown sector or resident or non-residential sector. Also, budget 2026 is underway. Our first meeting was yesterday, and the next one that we have scheduled is on December 3rd. And that's all I've got.
Go ahead, Councillor Project.
Just one question regarding that small business incentive. How much advertising are we doing on that? Like, are we advertising a lot on Facebook? Because I think there's still quite a few people who aren't aware of it or who have forgotten to submit their applications. So perhaps we can go heavy on the advertising.
We have had that issue every single year. So in the past, and I can confirm right now, I saw Sabrina working on a Facebook post just for the Facebook and Instagram post today. That advertising portion is going to happen for the month of November. The declarations are supposed to be as at November 30th. So obviously, if there's 5 employees in your business, we know that's not going to change significantly. But other places like co-op or businesses that are very close to that 50 full-time equivalent, we do prefer that they declare as of November 30th what their staffing levels are. So the month of November is when we are going to start. Normally, we also do a talk of the town regarding the small business incentive. We attach it to the municipal scoop in December, which is part of the utility bill. So if you have a printed utility bill, it'll be the back page of your scoop. If you have an electronic utility bill, it is on the page of the scoop as well. So we've attached it to the utility bills in the past. How else? We have it on our website. We can add it as a banner on our website with the new website conversions that we've done. We're always open to additional ideas if anyone has any recommendations, but we normally do print, Facebook, radio, and then also the utility bills. And we have them available at the front normally.
Councillor Rudick.
So another question about the small tax or small business tax incentive. If you can just remind us what percentage of our business community that fit into that category actually did apply? Do you have an idea?
I do not have that right on the top of my notes here. It varies year to year. So some years we have a lot of applicants. 2 years ago, there was a lot of people that didn't apply. And then last year we were back up to like a good portion of people that would be eligible did apply. I can really only comment on who was eligible prior and submitted prior and didn't submit in the current year, because I don't necessarily know how many employees people have. Like, for example, if you're owned by a subsidiary that is a large conglomerate, like 7-Eleven, for example, they are corporate owned. I know that they are no longer in town, but 7-Eleven would not apply for that because and Starbucks, like that is large franchise, versus if it's like a local franchise like our Dairy Queen, they would apply because they are all subsidiary owned. So I don't always know the makeup of other people's corporate structures, so that's why we rely on advertising and looking at rates of submission year over year. I can confirm that in 2024, for the submissions for the 25 year, there were not very many that missed out on submitting as to the prior year. We actually had quite a few additions from people that missed out in 2024 taxation year from the 2023 declaration. So.
Okay, I appreciate that the online submission is available and more accessible for folks, because we do want to make it as easy as we can.
Yes.
Understanding, of course, the onus is on them, but we do want to make it easy for people to access. This incentive is intended to be a bonus and a recognition for small businesses. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Councillor Jagalik.
Yeah, just a quick question. Do we have a communication stream with the chamber where we pass this kind of thing on to them outside of, I mean, I'm on the chamber board now, so of course I'm going to bring this to them. But do we have a communication stream set up like that?
We do have their email, so normally I do send that out to them. So thank you for reminding me. That is another one that we often do, so.
Yeah, I feel like that would also be an advantage for the chamber to get more members on their end, to say, you know, we are a means of communication for you between them and the town, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah,
But
would
yes,
be-
that has
would be
been sent
one.
out through the chamber in the past.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Director Lefebvre.
Thank you, Worship. I would like to do an update on our bulk water sales
Certainly.
station. The last update we did was on November 3rd. Remembering the system came functional on October 10th. And since then, we have done approximately 1,400 transactions. Since November 3rd till now, we've had 2 calls about the tap not working properly. And then there was 2 about the volume of water they're receiving for the charge they're getting. So we've been dealing with for FOB users, the Stripe account is now fully programmed, and we are sending information out in a couple of days. You will, if you're a FOB user, you will receive an email to your account, and it's been set up. We're doing all the profiles and working with the Community Engagement and Economic Development Group to develop the communications signage to make this easy to understand. You'll be able to access your own account on your phone or your computer anytime you want, load up your FOB with your dollars, see what your accounts are. In fact, I have a sample in the back. See what it was going to look like. So it'll have your username, customer ID, your email address, your phone number. It'll have the date and the time of water purchased down to the second, the volume of water you've purchased, the amount that volume of water cost you. It'll have your previous balance and your current balance after your purchase. So it's giving you everything you need. That was the big step we were missing as we tried to connect our system with Stripe. So that is now working, functional. Today we went down with the Public Works FOBs for our company ones and went through the whole process, and everything seemed to work very easily for us. So probably, I would have to say by early next week, if not sooner, you'll be getting the emails to log in and get set up. And this gives FOB users a lot of the information and freedom they've been asking for since the start. So that's the last part of the pie for them. We are still incorporating a metering system that will meter as you pump. So it'll be based independently. And so you can see if you've got your 10 cubes or whatever you need to press the stop button at. Because when you do stop with the fob or the press button, if you're tapping, it stops instantly, but you will get a portion of water that's in the pipeline. And the reason why most of it drains into the tank, and then from the check valves in drains back into the reservoir. And that's so we don't get freezing in the winter. Obviously, we want the lines to remain empty. So we just did a couple test runs. And if you're purchasing, for us, it was 1 liter of water, 1 cube of water, 1 cubic meter of water. And we hit stop right when it hit the 1 cubic meter mark, and the counter inside was reading 1.1, and so was the level on our tank. So that 0.1 of a cube is what's in the lines that slope down to pour into the tank as gravity. You did pay for that water, and it's past the check valve, you will get that water. I want to talk a little bit about the taps. The tap complaints have dropped right down to 2 in weeks. So that's good. And it's as the common issues that we're finding are like we talked lots before about the pre-auth tap amounts was a real problem. A couple of the banks were just not recognizing this NIAX system and not accepting it. If you tapped it twice or 3 times because you're getting used to learning how to use it, your own bank would cancel your card thinking that it's being compromised. So we had to do a lot of that. People were going back to their accounts or calling their credit card companies and coming back as we reported to them and saying, yes, my tap works fine now because I had to change this, and now it's working good. So it wasn't just always the system that was no good. We had to get both sides working together to make this new transition happen. Connex is the company that provided the whole package, and they just give us some common issues with tap users, and we're seeing that out there. The credit debit provider has blocked a transaction due to tap not being enabled. So some of the cards we have to hop didn't have a tap feature, especially if it's a credit card, some don't. So that was a problem on some of them. When they say card, they're always referring to debit or credit. Card is being held on the reader for too long or not long enough. The user needs to place the card on the reader, and they will hear the authorization sound and then remove the card. So it's just like you use it any place else. You put it down, it'll beep, it'll make a sound, and then transaction approved, or that's what we're waiting for. Because if you take it off too soon and then put it down again, it tries again, and then right away the bank's seeing 2 transactions real fast, and it cancels it, and this system will cancel it as well if that's happening. So it's just a bit of a learning curve. The one we were finding that I can't shut it off, and when you have a fob, you use your fob, it beeps, water's instant. When you want to shut this off, you take your fob, you tap it, water's off. You get that little bit of water that you paid for in the line. With the card system, when you tap, it beeps, you remove it, water starts. When you want to stop, there's the screen, it's red, it says stop, you just touch it and put your finger on it and let go. It's not a push physical manual button, it's on the screen. You touch and let go, the water stops instant. We've just found that we had people that tapped their card to get the water started, and we're trying to tap the card to shut it off. We have, we think, some pretty good, very descriptive description on this unit to read, but you can get confused if it's a new system and you're not familiar using it. So as time goes on and we get rid of the bugs and the problems we've been having and make the system connect now to the options it is capable of, the complaints just keep dropping and dropping. And like I said, we are working, and hopefully before the end of the year, we've got a meter counter, so you can stand there and watch your counters go up to whatever cubic meters you want to shut it off at. Is there any questions, or anybody's hearing anything? I just want to make sure council knows that we definitely have stayed on top of it to get this working as good as we can.
Just so everybody knows, we do have a camera out there, and some of the taps that we've seen, 15 taps within 12 seconds, it just not really going that good, and of course the bank now thinks, well, this is not a good time to activate this card or let this card work, and yeah, so again, it's all a little bit of a learning curve for everybody, but the fact that now that the fobs will be able to accept downloading money with your credit card onto your fob even when you're there or whatever, wherever you are,
Yeah.
that's going to be a big thing for the ball callers. So
And the receipt part of it is working well now. We have this ability for the emails. When you take your fob and you stop the water, I'll bet you before you get in your truck, you've got an email that says all the information I just listed to you. If you're a TAP user, then there is a QR code. You can download that, and it does the same thing, that it'll put it into that file that you've downloaded your app and keep it, just like we have at car washes. If you have that app, it'll tell you this date, this time, this much money. So it's the same deal. So it's all working now. It continues, a lot of it continues to work.
Any questions for Director Lefebvre? Okay, thank you very much. Next up, CAO Ling.
All right, thank you, Your Worship. Well, I actually don't have much. We've finished off all the council training, which I attended along with council, and I also attended the Alberta Munis Fall Conference with them, and through all the other time in between meetings and everything else, we've been working on budgets. So that's all I really have to report.
Okay, thank you very much. So we have a council meeting on Monday. We have the Christmas parade on the 28th, Ledge meeting on the 2nd, and we do have everybody's, I think, Leslie, all the dates have been committed to for the food bank pickups? Yes. Okay, and we have, hopefully we can have as many people out at the Christmas orange deliveries on the seniors coming up, so. Okay, that being said, is there any other business of council? I don't think I missed anything this time, did I? Yeah? Shut it. Okay, we do have a couple of things to talk about in closed session, so I'll take a motion to go into closed session. Councilor Lemko makes the motion at 5:32. All those in favor? Thank you.